Hi, everybody. Welcome to Coach's Playbook with Paul LaPolice, your home for elite CFL breakdowns and analysis of the amazing game we play up here in Canada. Today, let's continue talking training camp. What I want to show you is an install playbook and also an installation. Basically, what the coaches do from an installation standpoint, setting what the 12 practices or 15 practices they have scheduled, how they do their installation, and then how they formulate getting that information to the players. So let's open the playbook. This is an offensive installation from 2022, version 5. So you're going to make a lot of versions of these. At least I always had to make a lot of versions of these, trying to sort out how much you wanted in from day to day. Again, we talked about the first day of practice a couple of days ago. Let's continue to talk about what would look like from an installation standpoint. So you break it up into all the different categories that can happen through the course of a day. First and foremost, cadence. So you can see there's 2 cadences that have been added to the practice. Formations. You can see there that they have 7 formations from the 1-back sets. You have 2 back sets, and big, you have 2 formations, basically by formations by personnel groups. Personnel is what type of players are on the field. Then you break in, here are the motions that are in for the day. And then your run plays. This day is all forms of what you call the tight zone play, just an inside zone play, all the different variations. I always planned on doing something under center to make sure we had plays under center to kind of break that rule of always being in gun. And then run tags. These are additions to your run game to make your run game more efficient. And some other lipstick type things, which are misdirections. Protections. Here are the protections for the day. So you're breaking all this information out and you're trying to go, okay, I have 12 days of practice. How am I going to get all these things in? So you put your practice plans down, you put the days, and then you start filling in what the most important things to put in. What's important to install at the beginning? You're basically, first and foremost, some of your best stuff. And secondly, you also have to make sure that you're putting in things that, you build, you have the simple run play, then you have the play action off it. Very simple things to start training camp. 1 screen pass, you can see drop back pass, couple of 3 steps, a horizontal stretch, a dig read, a couple of high-low corner reads. You got to get scramble rules in on day 1, some under center pass game. Ultra score zone, which would be going in the red zone. Other people call it inside the 10-yard line. Every day at training camp, let's run 5 or 6 plays. We have plenty of reps. Let's get a couple of plays down inside the 5-yard line. There should be stuff that's already been put in within your system in the regular part of the day. Follows could be your tempos that go in for the day, your really hurry up offense type plays, and some of the situations, how to get in and out of the huddle. If you're reporting as an O-lineman, how do you report if you're uncovered? And then possibly situational calls, late call from the sidelines. Here's how we go with tempo. If we're going to play with tempo, here's what we do if an offensive or a defensive player is offsides. So that is basically you fill in, okay, in day 1, this is what we think we want to install. Day 2, day 3, day 4. So you go through all the days throughout your training camp, and then you can figure out, okay, I've got to back this up, too much this day. Once this is established, then you go back and then you make your playbook off of this. And what I mean by a playbook is your install playbook. You have a playbook for the coaches that has pretty much everything, but the install playbook is more basically used for training camp because it's a way more efficient way of showing the players what's in from day to day. Once your installation is finalized, then you would go make what you call an install playbook. To review, an install playbook is different than the normal playbook that the coaches would have, and it's more efficient. It's efficient because you don't want to tell a player, okay, go to page 200 and in box 3, 4, 5, these drawings are in this day to tomorrow, and then you just keep going through that every day, and the kids are trying to check off when each play is run. This puts it in one spot. They know everything that is going to be installed that day is going to be in one spot for them to look at. If they study it, they should be able to execute it. This is the better way to run a playbook. The more efficient coaches will do this way, because you can be very efficient in your meetings, and the players should be able to handle all the information. Now, these are, day one is usually a very heavy install, but if you go to the cadences right here, just 2 cadences. So you go over it in the meeting, you're going to talk with everybody, talk about it. Somebody's going to go ahead and do it live in the meeting room, and then you're going to move to the next thing. Formations. A lot of formations go in the first day. Let's educate a little bit about what formations mean. So normally, people use this term, how many receivers to the field and how many receivers to the boundary. So that is a 3x2 set. 3x2 is 3 receivers to the field, 2 to the boundary. And then normally players are assigned letters, X, R, Y, W, Z, and each letter should have a characteristic. Maybe the X's are good route runners, maybe the Z's are really fast and physical, and maybe the Y's are great blockers. But each coach is going to kind of, in their system is going to assign what players are. And what players they want in each spot. And that's how they're identified, and that's how you rotate through. Now, I always tried to use as much as I could to help the players. Tried to use a mnemonics, and basically W and X switch is wax. So now the X goes to where the W was in our base formation, and the W goes to where X is, and the X goes to where W is. You're just trying to make sure you do everything in your power to make simple code words to help with their terminology. Work is W and R switch from their base alignments. Yard is Y and R. So you hope you can install a lot of stuff if it's simple to the players and you give them some type of word association. So as you go through, formations are going to be installed by personnel groupings. Big team would be more offensive linemen, a fullback, and less receivers, Change in formation. So not a lot of motions of a change in formation this day, but you're going to talk about it, you're going to show it on film, and you're going to walk through it that day. And you're going to try to hit all the different types of learners. Some guys have to see it on a board, some guys have to see video, some guys need to see it or walk through it. Then you'll go through and all the different running plays. These are all different inside zone combinations. So all the players, quarterbacks, receivers have to have an understanding of how you're going to block these runs. They don't have to know the individual stuff, but this is what their rules are pertaining to these runs. You'll see all different run-pass options. The RPO game is a big thing nowadays in the Canadian Football League. Quarterback read tags, all different things that basically this is the RPO game that happens when you start the football season. And an important part, once you start installing your play actions and your drop back passes. So this sheet's real important. Why? Because it's very important that the offensive line know where the launch point is of the quarterback. In 360, he is at 5 yards depth, so that the linemen know when they hear that call, they've got to stay on the line of scrimmage. They can't retreat. And then they know on 764 and 765, they're going to be 9.5 to 10 yards deep. So the tackles have to run them, the defensive ends, past that 10-yard area. So very important for offensive line. These are things you want to teach them right from the start. Every day a protection goes in. Where is the launch point of the quarterback on that football play? So then you'll go through the protections and you go through the protection rules. And simple protection rules for each play. It is a lot of information, but you try to teach it simply for the players. So here's a quick protection example. A Louis call. Louis means left. So those 3 slide to the left. Those 3 take those 3. This side says man below. They are man to man. They have those 2 men. And now the tailback, who is a blue triangle, his first threat is the Mike linebacker. That's why there's a blue triangle over his head. The letter 1 says that's his first threat. He blocks him first if he comes. And then there's another dotted line that with the number 2 to the Sam linebacker, the strong side linebacker. He's saying, take the middle linebacker first. If he drops, look to the Sam and take him if he comes. So there's a lot of different colors. There's a lot of information. Here you get all the rules for the offensive linemen, what their rule is on each play, and how the different looks are. So protections, there's a lot of information in there. And you still haven't even gotten to the pass plays. So here's double outs. Play a lot of teams in the CFL run their quick game. You see the alignments, where people line up, their splits, where they're wanted to be when the play is run. They see the routes, and you see other dotted lines to mean things. This is an adjustment. A dotted line usually on a pass play is, hey, we're going to convert, which means change the route. I'm not going to run a quick out. I'm going to run a fade versus cut and press coverage. So you go through this with the players. You show them the picture. You talk about it. You talk to the quarterbacks about how we want it read. Then you watch all the film. You watch film of good plays and bad, and you're trying to make sure that all the different virtual learners get this information. And again, there's a lot of passes on the first day of the week. You're going through. You're going by situational, some second and long passes. Scramble rules are going to be very important when you start training camp. So you go through scramble. As I said before, I always wanted to do score zone in the start of training camp. We had so many reps. I wanted to make sure we work inside the 5-yard line and the different plays you have there. So you are always trying to, one, teach these players as quickly as you can, because you don't have as much meeting time as you think, and you have to be as efficient as you can. This playbook helps with that process. And again, as I say always to the players, if you know what you're doing and you run a 4.5, you run a 4.5. If you don't know what you're doing, you run a 4.7. So we're trying to give this information to them as quickly as we can, as efficient as we can, and that's what a playbook looks like on a day 1 install.